Good morning, everybody. This is the first Accelerator Growth webinar which we are running, and today's presenter is Fernando Mendez Requena, who will be talking about the Internet of Things chapter in depth. So let's pass it over direct to him.
Hello, everybody. I'm Fernando Mendez Requena. I would like to share my screen with a little presentation and a real demo about IoT agents. So here in my Jihad site, we have a real demo about the first Accelerator webinar. It's called Interface to the Internet of Things, and this project is about how to use and connect FIWARE IoT agent in an easy way. So firstly, the requirements are Linux. So you need Docker and Docker Compose. In this demo, we are using the FIWARE IoT agent Ultralight, but we can use another like IoT agent JSON. We need Python and Mosquito. So firstly, the installation step. It will be using Docker Compose because it's more easy to deploy the necessary service. So in this case, we are using Mongo and FIWARE Orion. And in another way, we need to install Mosquito using this statement and the broker using another statement. So we are going to share the screen. Okay. So here we can see three terminals that we are going to use in the demo. So in this case, first we can start this script. This script deploy the necessary services that we see before and a little Django application that this is useful to see the data that we are going to send to the Orion and to see if everything is work. So now we have all the services up. So there are Orion here, and there are MongoDB that is all up. So the next step, if we see, sorry, if we see the screen, the first screen, okay. So we deploy the services with this script, and now it's not a mandatory, but it could be useful. The IoT agent has got a file that you need to set up if you want, but it's not mandatory. So in this case, you can set up the IP containers and the Mongo IP containers. But in this case, we are working on localhost, so it's not necessary. But it's very important to set up the APK because this is a way that has the IoT agent in order to send a message and work better with Orion because it's like a channel. The APK must be equal in both cases. So in this case, now we are going to run the agent with this statement. So as you see here, you can see the setup that I said before. So right now I have uh, the broker in localhost and the Mongo in localhost too. We can see the log in the IoT agent, and if you see that this line, yes, starting IoT agent listening, that is if you see this line, you can see that IoT agent is working on great. So right now, I'll change the screen. Okay. Um, the last step is running this for script, and this is a script. This script will be create a device and create a service. These are mandatory steps. We can see in the terminal better. So in this script, first we need to create a device. Okay, we create a device, and you see this response in the IoT agent. This is the payload that um, you asked when you create a device. So in this case, we are working with this attribute with temperature and luminosity. The next step is to create a service. So in this case, we're going to create a service. Okay, this service is working on the device before create, and we see this APK must be the same that in the configuration IoT agent file. For now, we are going to send some messages, and we can do using Mosquito or using command. Right now, we are going using Mosquito. Okay. For now, Mosquito is are going to simulate a real device, so we can choose Mosquito, or we can choose a curl post, HTTP post. If you want to see right now the values, we can see that we are sending 25 grades of temperature and low of the in this low is for a luminosity attribute. So here we have a luminosity with low and temperature with 25 data. This is a little application, the Django app. Um, if you want to get result using HTTP request, so you can use this script. Sorry. I don't know why. And this HTTP request is a post request, and you can see the same value from the Django application. So in this case, you can see the attribute temperature with the same value that you can see here in the Django app. Um, okay. And the other is here, luminosity with the value low. So that is that is how IoT agent work, sending attributes. So if you see the IoT agent server, you can see all the process. So for now, we send a post with new values, and you can see that multiple measures for the device with this APK are successfully updated. So in this case, you can see the context element for this entity. So now we have this attribute with the 25 value of the temperature and a value of low from luminosity. So if you use like we can see, I'm going to do another test. Okay, we are going to edit send measure for mosquito. We are going to edit. We are going to send 2045 extreme for luminosity. So we save and we send again. So if you go to the IoT agent server, you'll see that it's successfully updated. So if you go to the application Django and refresh, you will see both values updated. So firstly, this is the important thing that you need to have is that you need to set up this file. So if you want to use IoT agent in another machine with um, another IP address, for example, in cloud, etc., you need to set up this file according your properties. So the next important thing is this default API is must be equal than your setting when you send your values. So for example, we can see that we have a TIFF, a name. So if we go to the script, for example, we send measure using mosquito. So you can see that we are going TIFF. So this is a mandatory step. And it's the same that if you want to create a device or create a service. So for example, you create a service with these values, these attributes. This is where we are going to ask with this entity. Then we create a service. This is our context broker in our container IP. And this is the APK name that we define in the config IoT agent file. So for now, we can use commands. For example, here is the script for commands. Oh, sorry. So in this case, we are going to use a post. In this case, you need to do these parameters for the URL. This is our APK name. This is our sensor device. And this is a mandatory parameters. So in this case, we are going to say that our temperature value must be 25.6 and our luminosity will be intense. So for now, if you send this request, you will see in our application. So I don't know if you know what is an IoT agent. I think that it will be the first time here in the record. So a little brief is imagine that you want to speak with a German, but you only know Spanish language. So for speak and understand both is necessary. In this case, an interpreter who translate this message in our language. So basically, an IoT agent is a kind of translator that meet the goal before I comment. So it's like a protocol that use to IoT devices. So regarding the IoT agent commands, you have two cases, push command and pull command. In this case, the pulling command and push command, the agent doesn't send any messages to the device. So this is a new Ultralight protocol description in version 2.0. If you query an HTTP request that we see in the script before here, you need to query with this parameter with a value 1, and you will have a response with a list of all commands available of this device. So firstly, you need to create a device with the command that you are going to use. So for now, if any have any question, please tell me and I will help you. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. As Fernando mentioned, now is an excellent time to ask any questions, so please fire away. If there's no questions from the rest of the audience, I will certainly ask some nasty questions of my own. So, could you explain to the audience which protocols are currently covered by the IoT agents and which protocols are likely to be covered in the relatively near future?
Actually, from the ATOS agents, we are using an MQTT protocol, both from Ultralight and from JSON. So basically, the difference between JSON and Ultralight is the payload. So in this case, if you see in the video, you can see you didn't see a payload JSON. It's only a different with different composition. So
Fernando, Jason, may I add something in this point? This is Daniel from ATOS. We also have another IoT agent for lightweight machine-to-machine, which is a suitable protocol for IoT devices with very constrained hardware resources. There is also a new development that we have just released during the last months. That is another agent for LoRaWAN. LoRaWAN is another IoT protocol which provides high coverage and low power consumption. It's again commonly used in the IoT field. And in this case, we support different technologies like the Things Network and LoRaServer.io, that it's an open source LoRaWAN stack, and two different data models. One is the IETF seaboard data model, and another one is Cayenne LPP. The main difference between these two data models are that in the first case, we are talking about a standard data model which provides great flexibility but much more complexity, while the Cayenne LPP, it's a simple protocol, but it only supports quite a few types of sensors. Regarding the future, our intention is to improve the capabilities of the current IoT agents, and we also foresee the implementation of new agents, especially to support industrial IoT, which is an ongoing, very interesting potential application for FIWARE. But we are also open to receive suggestions and requests from the community, from the users, and of course from Impact Grow regarding which protocols could be used. It's a bit clear now which protocols are covered and more or less which is the roadmap. Jason?
It seems Jason is gone. Or
Oh, I was on mute, sorry. That was clear to me, but if you want to repeat the list just for clarity, we can do so.
I'm sorry, do you want that I repeat the whole speech, or?
If you want to, it's up to you. I mean, we'll move on. It was clear to me. The second question I would like to see if you could answer is: under what circumstances shouldn't you be using an IoT agent? Where is it unsuitable? And what other mechanisms could you use to get your data into your system?
Okay, so the main purpose, as Fernando has explained during his webinar, is of an IoT agent is to allow the interoperability between IoT devices, talking specific communication protocols and FIWARE Orion Context Broker. And so basically what they do is to translate these specific IoT protocols to NGSI, which is, as you may know, the FIWARE standard data model in order to manage context information at very large scale. So when do you want to, or when do you should you use an IoT agent? When you need to connect an IoT device to FIWARE to transmit data from IoT devices to FIWARE, and specifically when you are dealing with devices with have not too much hardware resources, let's say. Because if you have the capability of running a complete Linux operating system, you may implement by yourself the interface with the context broker. But anyway, it's always a good practice to use one of these IoT agents because it will allow you to easily change between different protocols. Maybe now you are going to use MQTT with JSON data model, but in the future you will like to change to another type of protocol. So using these IoT agents, you will reduce the effort in order to support quite amount of communication possibilities.
If you were in the process of wiring up your IoT agent or changing from one protocol to another, how would you go about ensuring that you have the same level of abilities when you move to a new protocol?
Are you referring to integration test of new IoT agents, or could you please elaborate a bit?
Yes, yes. So how would you go about doing it? How would you make sure that when you do make the change that you don't lose data?
Okay, this is not part of the IoT agents because IoT agents do not persist the data. Data is persisted by in the context broker. The context broker stores the last observations received from the IoT agents, and so if you change from one protocol to another one, you would not lose historic data. Obviously, if your device is continuously transmitting data and in the process of changing the protocol and the IoT agent, you don't achieve to do this upgrade in a smooth way, you may lose some data, but it's something that you have to deal from the from your infrastructure perspective, not from the IoT agent functionality. And regarding how to ensure that your IoT agent, if you implement a new IoT agent, the functionality is correct, is interoperable with the context broker. There is a reference framework to implement new IoT agents, which is available in two languages, C++ and Node.js. This reference framework contain some, most of the APIs that are common for all the IoT agents. So if you want to create a new IoT agent, you just need to download this library, this reference framework, and to extend it with your Southbound functionality, with your Southbound IoT protocol. And you should also include as part of this development some unit tests to ensure that everything is correct. There are good examples in this library using some Node.js modules like NOC. Of course, you can apply other testing methodologies that you are trained.
We've got another question which is in the chat at the moment. By default, the IoT agent use the MQTT protocol. How many different ways are there to modify the config to use, say, HTTP? And what would you need to change?
Fernando, maybe you show again the configuration file and explain how to do this change.
Okay. Let me know. So you see the monitor. Okay. Did you see the screen?
But very teeny, the font.
Could you try to increase the zoom, maybe? Or the font size? Yeah, better now.
It's very lowly. Okay. So let's go to the configuration. So sorry, the question is that how to use
How to change
HTTP.
to MQTT from HTTP, which is the default transport protocol in the IoT agent for Ultralight and JSON.
Okay. So here is the main config file. Do you see, or I think that is very I don't know if you see the letter. I think that is very small. Do you see the letter, or is very small?
I can see the screen. Anyone else want to complain before I say it's okay?
Okay. So if you want to change between configure protocol, so, you can see MQTT protocol, or you can see HTTP protocol. So in this case, by default, the configuration of the agent has this this setup. So you has if you can see the port and the URL, you need to explore this file, and in this case you can see that config ultralight port for HTTP is this. So if you want to send these values, you only want to do a post. So for example, I'm going to look for this. I think that's send measures. So for example, on device measures. So this is post HTTP request. So in this case, you are using, firstly, you need to define the services that you see. Oh, and this is the URL that you need to use in order to send an HTTP post request. And this is the payload that the IoT agent Ultralight works. So the principal main difference between the IoT agent and JSON is this payload is in JSON. It's a JSON payload. So I don't know if this answered your question or.
Right, we have another question. Please keep them coming in. You've got your one chance to talk to the experts. Let's talk to the experts. So the next question is that if you had a device which was capable of sending messages directly to Orion, presumably the form of a formatted JSON string, which is in NGSI format, is there any benefit of adding in the IoT agent as a middleware?
I think that, well, I can answer that. It's similar to the point that you said before, Jason, about when you don't need to use an IoT agent. And so apart from the explanation that Daniel have said about when do you don't need an IoT agent. So other point related to this question is, of course, Orion Context Broker exposes an open API, REST API. So of course you can invoke this API by yourself, and you can send measures, and you can interact with Orion by your own. You can create, you can send this, you can do this request as you prefer. You can do it in different languages, different programming languages. You can create your scripts. So yes, you can do it by yourself. You can compose your own JSON in NGSI, and you can directly send it. But the advantage of using an IoT agent is that the IoT agent provides you with a lot of functionality about describing your agent, describing your data, and also it does for you automatically the translation between some supported protocols to NGSI. So if your system is using one of these protocols, to use an IoT agent it's very easy. So you only have to deploy and you can do it. Also, other advantages is if something changes in Orion, or if there is an update in the NGSI interface standard or whatever, also the IoT agents are going to be upgraded, and you will benefit immediately from these changes. Also, well, you can interact directly with Orion.
So, do we have any further questions on the chat? The summary to the previous question is there's no need to reinvent the wheel.